the same mindset. The same mindset that powers the biggest auto launches could fuel your own life and supercharge your leadership. Today, we've got a coach whose faith-driven playbook applies as much to the boardroom as it does to the garage. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Meet Dean Taylor, former NICU nurse turned healthcare IT leader turned speaker and coach. He's guided hundreds of men to break free from mediocrity, discover their purpose, and lead with vision. And today, he's here to share how those same principles can drive innovation and resilience in your automotive world. In the next 30 minutes, Dean and I will unpack the number one mindset shift every auto leader needs in the EV era. Dean's coaching has helped leaders triple revenue in struggling businesses, launch new product lines with purpose, and build high-trust teams, no matter the industry. His clients say the clarity they gained was game-ready and was tuned like a V12. All right, let's shift gears and bring Dean onto the channel. Dean, welcome. You started out as an NICU nurse. Talk about high stakes works. How did you realize success without purpose leaves you empty? And what triggered the pivot into leadership and coaching?
Yeah, thank you so much. I worked as an NICU nurse, and yes, it was a very high stakes environment, as you stated, for sure. I learned to perform under pressure, stay composed when every second mattered. And then as I moved into leadership, I realized that something was missing from my life. I felt like I was just chasing success, but hadn't really defined exactly what that meant for me. I started doing some deeper work and figuring out my purpose. For me, success without having a clear purpose was just going through motions without a lot of meaning. Part of my vision and my purpose is to bring my faith and my values and my visions to help other people. I feel like there's a lot of men similar to me that have worked for a while in their lives and their careers and felt like life was just happening and they were just going through the daily grind and the daily emotions of things. And so I felt like it was something I learned the hard way. And if I can help inspire and uplift other people through my vision and my desire to help people to gain vision and purpose for themselves, that's my purpose. My passion is to help other men get out of being stuck and be able to live life with real vision and purpose, live with passion. So that's very much how I operate now on a daily basis, and something that I love helping other people to do the same. So
Yeah, definitely. We've been going through a tremendous amount of pressure. We as men, so much is expected of us because, as the old saying goes, the strongest horse carries the most weight. And we've been holding up society without any form of gratitude. And especially even just now concluded, we're doing this after Father's Day. Happy belated Father's Day, Dean.
thank you.
A lot of videos came out about us not being appreciated the way we should be, especially in today's modern society. Because if men withdraw a lot of the things that we actually do in today's modern world, then society itself would collapse. But a lot of us go unappreciated, and this has caused so much depression among men. But that's another story. What does that look like in terms of practice, in terms of the transformation we need as men in today's modern society?
I love this question because I think when people hear the word faith, they often just think of it in the context of spirituality, spiritual nature. And I do definitely feel that's true. But I also think it's a conviction that keeps us moving forward, especially when data is incomplete, stakes are high. I think in terms like you asked the question for auto execs, it means believing in the long game, even when short-term pressures would say otherwise. I think it's in choosing integrity and service and having a vision over panic. Sometimes you might say, I'm launching this thing, and having something that kind of makes you question that vision. So I think faith gives leaders the poise to make great decisions that align with who they are and not just what is expedient for that moment.
I think if we take a lot of the aspects that we grew up understanding and impart it into our own lives, then things will be a lot more relaxing, so to speak, and to be stress-free. You will say a clear vision changes everything. When a brand like Ford or VW rolls out its next electric vehicle, they have a lot of blind spots. Vehicles have blind spots, but we as human beings, we as men, we as individuals out there, we also have blind spots. What type of blind spot do you think we will often miss?
I love this because they're blind spots for a reason, right? If we knew exactly what they always were, they wouldn't be our blind spot. But yeah, I think blind spots often are internal. A lot of brands, they focus on features, the latest technology, or whatever they're doing. And those things are all great. But there's a human element that I think we're all, just as human beings, we long for emotional connection. And so I think the why behind the innovation, what's the why that is going to maybe bring someone emotionally and tie them to that technology. So I think a clear vision doesn't just guide the engineering, but I think it can give meaning and value to purpose. And when you have that, when people connect with you on why you're doing something, I think it builds consumer trust. I don't know if you ever read the book by Simon Sinek, Starting with Why. I love it. I love it because he talks about people don't buy what we do, they buy why we do it.
Okay.
And so that why can also just inspire the workforce and inspire the people doing the work. So I think if the rollout's tied to something, isn't tied to a deeper why or a purpose, then it's hard to get people to really rally behind it. When people know why you do what you do, they're buying that versus just the technology. So many companies can make and do these great things, but what's the why? So anyway, I think that's an important part of.
Definitely. We know that gratitude is the gateway to abundance. How can a simple gratitude habit shift the culture on a factory floor to a design studio in your experience?
Yeah, I love gratitude, and it's because of the impact it's had on me personally. I think gratitude humanizes or rehumanizes the workplace. I think not only when leaders practice it and they also model it, there's an energy shift that occurs. I think people get out of feeling like they're just in survival mode to more of a feeling of collaboration. So I don't know, I'm just thinking of being on a factory floor and what that could look like in terms of recognizing the quiet contributions of someone else and expressing that gratitude. I was reading a book earlier. It's called Before Happiness, and it's written by Sean Aker. He's a Harvard psychologist, and he talks about the power of gratitude and shifting people's mindsets. And so I'm thinking, like, even on a factory floor, just simply saying hello and recognizing and acknowledging someone's there and celebrating something that they did and that was good. It builds trust. I think it helps drive performance. I think it's really fuel to people when people are recognized for the good that they have done and when that's acknowledged and they're seen and they're heard. What I was saying, gratitude, I don't think it's just thinking thankful thoughts. I think that's certainly important in saying it. But when you express real appreciation, then that has the ability to transform the culture. If that gratitude was expressed, how that could change the way the energy is with the people and the work that they do. I think they just become far more effective.
Your coaching promises a legacy that matters for car enthusiasts and the industry washers. What does legacy look like in today's fast evolving market?
Yeah, I love this. I think legacy, to me, legacy is it's definitely part of what you build, but I think it's way more than that. I think it's about what you leave behind in people. That's the way I view it and see it, is that. And I think for brands, it could definitely be the number of things that they sell. But I think it's even more than that. I think it's whether your story, what you've done has changed lives, whether your innovations inspired confidence. For leaders, I think it's more than just hitting quarterly targets. I think it's about how you empower others, how you show up when things are hard, how you've modeled character, especially when you're under pressure. And I'm sure there's a lot of pressure. I'm not from the automotive industry, but I definitely can understand, sympathize with that. I think legacy is built by intentional choices that we make one choice at a time.
All right, we're going to go through Dean's four-step legacy leadership framework, especially we can relate this to the automotive field. One of his vision is anchored vision. Define your North Star more than just profit or range. 2, purpose-powered teams embed gratitude and why into daily rituals. Number 3 is take bold action plans, which is translate visions into sprints, model rollout for tech demos and dealership trainings, which we've spoken about over time. And number 4, legacy metrics, track impact, custody, community programs, and team growth. Dean, how could you go a little bit more into some of those points you mentioned? So go a little bit more into anchored vision, define your North Star more than just profit or range. How could you relate that to today's modern audience?
How vision relates to your North Star, you're
Yes.
asking about. Yeah. I think vision, there's an acronym that I love for vision in terms of setting goals. I think that the vision has to be related to our values. So I think when our goals are values based, and the vision, when our goals inspire us, the thing that we're trying to achieve is actually inspire us to be more. And when I say inspire, I'm thinking of often we hear about SMART goals, and I think those have a place, they're achievable, but I think it's often those goals, unless that goal really inspires us. So I think of vision being something that is blended with our values, it inspires us, and that it's specific. Like we have a specific, sometimes we think that we're going to take a quantum leap or do something really big. If we could figure out logically, we would already have done that thing. I think that vision needs to be beyond our logic, beyond our ability to actually reason and see why. We don't always see the steps, but if it seems there's a natural tendency for our brains to say, if something feels fearful, we say, then I shouldn't be doing that thing. But just because something is fearful doesn't mean it's always going to feel uncomfortable.
Definitely. Anything is new to us is usually uncomfortable. We're always uncomfortable, especially when we're making bold decisions and making bold new steps.
Yeah.
That is why we were talking earlier about the gratitude, and we have to develop an attitude of gratitude, why we need to do it and build the daily rituals, especially when you're working in the dealership environment. As a manager, you have to try to motivate your team in order to do more and get more out of them, driving them to do more for the business itself. But you have to actually sell them the entire vision to say, okay, one more sales mean that one more customer mean that one more loyalty. When that customer return, it means one more customer meaning one more sale, and one more sale transpire into you being able to get the dealership ahead and to actually get that sales, and that sales would translate into we being able to stay in the market much longer in terms of customer satisfaction, because at the end of the day, it's all about people and networking and people management, and it's all about building lasting connection with each other. So everything is interconnected in the way we do things today, and that's one of the things you also mentioned in your biography about legacy metrics. We have to track the impact, the custody, the community, the programs, the team growth. So it's all about us being able to track the progress, but also we have to align our lives with it to see how much more we can get out of this. And that is why gratitude is very important. I totally understand where you're coming from, and it's part of the power in our teams. I embed that gratitude as to why we are actually here to do certain things.
Thanks, Chris. I love what you're saying, wrapping gratitude into that. When our goal or our vision has our heart, when we're obsessed about it, when that goal that we're trying to achieve really has our heart, we're more likely to keep pushing through those difficult times. Like you were just describing, we'll always run into an obstacle when we're trying to achieve a big goal, especially something that's outside of our familiarity, where we feel comfortable. And then I think the other thing is the goal has to just be noticeable. Where people are going to know when we accomplished it. Just to recap all of that, the word vision, V is values, I is inspirational, S is for specific. The other I is illogical or outside of our comfort. O, does it have our heart? Are we obsessed with it? How do people know when we achieve that thing? How do we know? And how do other people know we've achieved that vision and that goal?
Was all of this inspired the reasons you moved from NICU nurse to actually what you're doing now? Could you go a little bit into that part of the story?
Sure. Yeah. Working as a nurse in the newborn ICU it was an awesome opportunity. I loved being able to care for critically ill infants. And for me, a lot of that, transitioning out of the newborn ICU, a lot of it was just schedule. I was looking for work-life balance. And so looking at the time I was spending away from home, it was very demanding environment. So there was definitely that part of it that would help me transition and want to move away from
Yeah.
with a growing family. But in terms of inspiring, helping with my vision and where I saw myself going in life, there are, as you can well, knowing that you're holding a life in your hand and that life depends upon your ability to execute, gave me a lot of opportunity to reflect on life and where I was headed and what my passions and my desire and vision. I'll just share a story with you. This is not related to my time in the newborn ICU, but it definitely had a huge impact on my life. My dad, when I was younger, had a vision of having his own business, and he was going to have a small engine repair business, something that he felt very strongly about. He went through all the training and never got that business off the ground. I don't remember why and what obstacles he ran into, why that didn't really work for him. But years later, just a few months before he passed away, he was no longer able to care for himself. And so we were preparing his house to get it ready for sale. And I remember finding these old manuals that he had studied from and this old engine that he had taken apart and put back together and taken apart and put back together. And now we're throwing it in the dumpster. I felt like I was throwing my dad's vision and his dream just literally in the trash. And it was a very impactful moment for me to say, am I following is that my footstep? Is that where I'm headed in life? Is that what I want? And the answer was clearly no. And so that was a pivot in my life to determine I was going to do something different. Hopefully that helps answer a little bit more, get a little more color to that question, how my mindset shifted to do something.
Most definitely at a point in time, we're at a crossroad, and I have a similar situation with my father. He was actually working in the auto body repair department at a dealership, and he's been doing it for all his life. And that's how I got started in the automotive business as well. And when the father is working in a particular field, then they try to get their son to come along with them for a ride. And as time shifted, I lost the feel of working in the automotive because I used to tinker around him out there, helping myself being a part-time mechanic. And then I transitioned from that into more of a management status of it. And then we totally moved away from the dealership environment altogether because we wanted change. And it is one of the thing about us as human beings. We should always be challenging ourselves to see how best we can do it. What if I could make that next step? What if I take that leap of faith? What if we can transition to the next level? It's one of the driving force, especially to us as men, to keep challenging ourselves, to not to be complacent, because that is the killer of everything else. It's like going to the gym, doing one more repetition, building up those new neural pathways inside the body for us not to get complacent. I keep repeating that word, but again, it's very important for us not to go down that path and keep challenging ourselves in terms of where we want to get ahead in life, because we wouldn't be here if we weren't challenging ourselves. And again, as men, this is one of the challenges. We have to present ourselves even when nobody else appreciates us, but we also need to show gratitude to ourselves. Thank you for steering us down that road. And if you're an automotive leader or even a gearhead looking to level up your life, you can grab Dean's free mindset information linked into the description. Is tremendous. And if you're ready to live boldly, live abundantly, and build a legacy that outlasts any model year, you can check out his coaching program as well. Don't just drive cars, drive change. Dean, do you have anything you want to share with us in closing?
Oh my goodness. I love what you said. What a beautiful statement. Don't just drive cars, drive change. We should get t-shirts. You put that on a t-shirt. I love that.
Thank you very much.
What a privilege and honor it has been to be able to share just a little bit of time with you and learn about you and how you're inspiring a lot of exec leaders to think a little bit outside the box, do great and wonderful and big things. So I appreciate the opportunity very much. And I would say the only last thing, I guess, parting word, maybe I should do a t-shirt for this too, but I've often thought that sometimes we reach a certain point in our lives where we stop dreaming about some of those bigger visions, big goals that we have. And I always just say it's never too late to start dreaming again, but it's always too early to stop. So I would just encourage anyone who is thinking, is life passing by? Can I achieve this great thing? Absolutely, you can. And it's never too early to.
If anyone wants to get in touch with you in terms of the programs you're offering, how can my viewers, my listeners reach out to you?
Perfect. Thank you. My handle on Instagram is Dean Taylor Official. You can also find me at my website, deantaylorofficial.com, where I have some of the free resources linked out there. That's the best and easiest way to find me is just through Dean Taylor Official on Instagram, or deantaylorofficial.com is my website.
Okay, definitely. We have to remember your legacy starts with how you show up today. So let's build it one purposeful step at a time. And we're going to end with hit subscribe for more insider conversations. Drop your biggest leadership question in the comments. We might put you in the next hot seat to share with us your experiences like Dean did with us today. Again, Dean, thank you very much, and I appreciate you taking the time out and to share with us your experiences over the many years. It's never too late for us to make that transition, that change, and again, not to be complacent and keep challenging ourselves in terms of how we move forward. We appreciate each and every one who's listening so that we can continue to evolve and make that change, because you never know when the information you hear today will be beneficial for you tomorrow. Thank you again.